All this summer, we've been celebrating America's 250th birthday. And central to that birth are the people who were originally on this land we're on right now. The Haudenosaunee, or Iroquois Confederacy, influenced the construction of our democracy, especially the Constitution. The Haudenosaunee also gave us a game that's become huge in America, lacrosse. We meet a Mohawk artisan who's keeping the origins of lacrosse very much present. That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Morja Wealth Management, serving the North Country for 3 generations. MorjaWM.com. Advisory services offered through Hightower Advisors, LLC. Securities are offered through Hightower Securities, LLC, member FINRA, SIPC. And Kinney Drugs, now accepting S3 Nations benefits and OTC Network Wellness benefit cards for eligible over-the-counter health items. Details at KinneyDrugs.com.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Tuesday, July 28th. First up, a new report finds New York needs to spend $500 billion to combat the effects of climate change, and that's a conservative estimate. The report from Rebuild by Design cited research of in-progress, recently completed, and planned adaptation projects across New York State. The group's Niati Johnson says while potential costs are higher in coastal areas, the rest of the state is not immune.
We know that when governments don't invest in adaptation, greater costs get passed on to residents in the form of tax increases, insurance hikes, home repairs, business losses, etc.
The report suggests solutions like establishing long-term funding streams for climate adaptation and completing the statewide Adaptation and Resilience Plan. The Adirondack Park Agency is hosting an informational session next week about its plan to build a new headquarters in Saranac Lake. The state agency aims to renovate a historic building on Main Street and build a new office building for its more than 50 employees. Earlier this year, the village signed a lease agreement with the APA. The project is estimated to cost about $40 million, which has been appropriated by the state legislature. Some current and former APA employees have pushed back on the plans, while more than 60 local leaders and residents have come out in support of the move. The state agency that governs the park has been based in Ray Brook for more than 50 years. The public information session on the APA's new headquarters project will be at the Harrietstown Town Hall next Wednesday from 3 until 7 p.m. Advocates are hoping changes to a bill designed to boost organ donation numbers in New York will pass muster with Governor Kathy Hochul. It would allow donors to indicate their choice on their tax returns. As Samuel King with the New York Public News Network reports, the legislation comes as the state's organ donation numbers still lag behind the national average.
Governor Kathy Hochul vetoed a version of the bill called the Doorways to Donation Act last year. She cited concerns from the Department of Taxation and Finance and the fact that most people use third-party software to file taxes. In the last days of this year's session, lawmakers again passed a version of the bill, but with changes. Donate Life Executive Director Aisha Tater says the new bill addresses concerns about taxpayers' personal information and how data is used.
I think we've met them where they are in terms of what they needed changed to the statute so we could move forward and we could join the ranks of these other states that are doing so very productively, very prolifically.
States like California, Michigan, and Wisconsin now allow people to say whether they want to be organ or tissue donors on their tax returns. Hochul's office says she will review the legislation. She has until the end of the year to sign, veto, or request amendments to the bill. In Albany, I'm Samuel King for the New York Public News Network.
All summer, we've been celebrating and thinking about our nation's history as it hits 250 years old. Long before America's founding, the Haudenosaunee people lived here, and they played lacrosse. Boone Kilpatrick with the New York Public News Network brings us this story on an Akwesasne Mohawk artisan determined to keep his heritage alive.
In far northern New York, by the banks of the St. Lawrence River, Lewis Mitchell hunches over a long cutting of hickory in his workshop, carefully following a 1,000-year-old tradition.
That's pretty good right there.
He is a member of the Mohawk Nation, one of the 6 forming the Haudenosaunee Confederacy that faced annihilation at the turn of the century.
We almost disappeared. There were only maybe 50,000 of us left, and we almost disappeared.
They're the same people who created the game of lacrosse. They call it the medicine game because they say it has the power to heal spirits and bring communities together. When Canadian colonizers adopted it in the late 1800s, industrious Indigenous craftsmen opened factories to provide hand-hewn lacrosse sticks to the world. For decades, factories along the St. Lawrence River filled with the screams from massive bandsaws, churning out the Haudenosaunee spiritual instruments.
They were shipped all over the world. This factory right here employed about 60 people, from carvers to people splitting logs. There was a whole slew of people that worked on the island.
Each log can produce 8 to 10 strips that can be made into lacrosse sticks. They take the strips, steam them, bend them to their will, and then after waiting patiently for them to dry, they carefully feed it to the bandsaw. At one time, the Mohawks' handcrafted process made up 98% of the world's sticks, until the 1960s introduced plastic, rendering the wood stick obsolete. Mitchell left his craft and turned to law enforcement, until several decades later, when the stick beckoned him back.
People are asking for wooden sticks, so I used to do it before. I said, I'll do it again.
He shares some of the ancient wisdom as he rends sheets of the hardy wood out of the stick with his massive two-handed blade. It looks like something out of a horror movie. One slip could cost fingers.
And as one elder told me, he said, always look at the stick and the wood itself.
He had to relearn everything, from splitting the logs to steaming, bending, and shaping. Every detail it takes to craft an authentic lacrosse stick.
From the log to the finish, you're probably looking over a year. Probably, I could get it down to maybe 8 months maybe, but that's kind of pushing it.
For Mitchell, it's more than a business. It's a birthright.
The Haudenosaunee gave the game of lacrosse, to the world. And the wooden stick was part of that gift. And to lose that tradition of making that stick, we can't forget that ourselves.
Before the Declaration of Independence, before Columbus, possibly even before William the Conqueror sailed for Britain, the Haudenosaunee played lacrosse. And now, 2 years out from the 2028 Olympic Games in LA, the sport will take center stage, without the third best squad in the world, the Haudenosaunee national team.
Every nation should have their own flag, their own purpose. This is ours. This is our sovereignty. This is our country. That's important to us as who we are.
Mitchell is the last of a dying art, but increasingly masters are taking on apprentices, and the craft is beginning to come back as the niche market for the sticks expands.
When I relearned how to make sticks, there were probably about 5 throughout Haudenosaunee country. Now there are probably 30, 40, 50 people making sticks.
Mitchell hopes to pass the tradition on to his grandchildren someday, right here on the banks of the St. Lawrence, where the Haudenosaunee have carved sticks for thousands of years and hope to carve them for 1,000 years to come. From the Mohawk Nation, I'm Boone Kilpatrick for the New York Public News Network.
This show, Story of the Day, is only one of our daily local news shows from NCPR. We also have our morning show, Northern Light. We have a full show of news stories on our website that we also push out every day on Facebook and Instagram. It's all only possible because our listeners and our readers and our scrollers donate. When you give now at ncpr.org/give, you're paying for local news shows that keep you on top of what's going on in the North Country. It's our summer fundraiser. Give now at ncpr.org/give. Thanks so much. Music today by Eddie Lawrence of Saranac Lake and Tim Elifritz of Johnsburg. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.